The gang I die.
Who you with?
Reec.
Yeah. Who you with?
Who you with?
Hit the hype bell early. We got a return customer in the building. Jasmine Young in here talking about financial healing. I feel like I need to play like some Teddy Pendergrass. That's what I say. Financial healing. Let's get it on. You know what I'm saying? From a holistic approach, I love the way you approach business. I love the way that you help your clients. You got all these rave reviews. You got all these people you are helping become financially sound. You're changing generations with your practices. So let's go ahead and hit the hype bell on that.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
We talked about all that last time.
We did.
This time we're going to talk about something more specific because this has been a hot item.
Yes.
Multiple streams of income and getting past financial trauma.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
So Jazz, let's jump right into it. Let's talk about what do you mean? What is your definition to the people when you talk about financial trauma?
Well, when you talk about financial trauma, you're really looking at people's psychological patterns as it relates to money, why they spend the way they do, what they're spending money on, and what the purpose of it is. If you talk to people about their spending habits, most of the time, number one, they're spending money they don't have to spend.
Okay.
Number two, they're spending money to overcompensate for their lack in other areas.
Okay.
Now, we're in Atlanta.
We're talking about my cousins now. Let's be gentle, Jasmine.
Yeah, so we're in Atlanta, and you actually see this more than you actually pay attention to it. A lot of people spend money to make themselves look a certain way to be able to fit into certain groups. And that's what financial trauma is. And people don't really pay attention to the fact that they're overspending because they have a psychological issue and they need to address their relationship with money versus having more money to be able to do more things.
Tamar Braxton went viral the other day speaking on this. She said, I'm out here trying to keep up with y'all buying all this designer stuff.
Exactly.
Come to find out y'all faking and I'm spending all my money.
Absolutely.
I'm going back to wearing white tees and jeans.
And you know what? That's actually more common because people actually go and spend money on brands because they see a Tamar Braxton with a Gucci bag or whatever, not knowing that, hey, she may have gotten a sponsorship from Gucci while you out here, going and spending your money just to get the bag, and you don't even have the money that you paid for the bag in the bag. Gotcha. So that actually happens a lot. So that's what we try to do with our services. Of course, we're going to give you the application piece of it, the blueprint of how to do it. But more than likely, I would say financial literacy is 50% application and then 50% psychological. Okay. We really got to get into your mindset of, well, why do you spend the way you spend?
What is one of the most common reasons? What are we doing?
Overcompensation.
Okay.
Yep. We're spending money because we're trying to keep up with Tamar and the Joneses and everybody else. That's the biggest reason why. On top of that, and I know people hate talking about this, but if it goes back to slavery. We were taught to make ourselves, appear lowly. And now that we're not in a time of slavery, we're trying to make ourselves appear a certain way to fit into the world of capitalism.
Yeah.
How the
we have to overdo it.
Yeah,
sometimes.
we have to, because even in corporate, like, we always have to dress the part. They've always told you, fake it till you make it.
Yeah.
We've taken it literally, and it's coming back to bite us. So that's what we try to address.
So we faking it, and now we can't make it because we setting ourselves back.
Absolutely.
That's what you're saying.
Absolutely.
Okay.
Yep.
So how do we get to a point so we say, all right, I don't need to overcompensate. I just need to live within my means so I can be in a position to do these things.
Right.
Okay.
Yeah. That's basically it. And one of the things that I always tell people, the biggest part of overcoming this is actually having a conversation. A lot of people don't talk about their money because they don't want to feel judged.
Right.
They don't want. I don't like people in my business. But in actuality, it's fear of not fitting in, fear of not being good enough, because just think about back in slavery, they didn't even count us as a full human being.
As a person, right.
Yeah, so now it's, well, I have to live up to this standard in order to be good enough.
Right.
And it's hard. I would say, just even being a black CPA, I get a lot of people that say, I've never had a CPA before, but I've never talked to somebody black about my finances. Yeah. And I think that's something that occurs in our community a lot because we don't want other black people knowing that we ain't got it.
Or we don't trust that another black person understands
Right.
about having it.
Absolutely. And then you run into situations to where they go and trust someone that doesn't look like them, but then something happens and now they come to you to fix it. And it's like, you trust me enough to fix the issue,
right.
but you didn't trust me enough to keep you from the issue from the start.
Absolutely.
So that all goes back to financial trauma as well. It's all in the psyche.
I love it because sometimes if we can get past that first part of the psyche, to have the conversation, to
Right.
hire somebody that understands us,
Right.
then we can have some real conversations. Like our accountant is a black woman. She's amazing. Shout out Shalisha. Amazing. Keeps us in line. But she'll be like, Reece, you can't do that.
Absolutely.
And then you got to have those conversations.
Absolutely. And that's the one thing I love about the people that I serve. Like, I'm going to keep it real with you. Like, look, this is not how this is going to go. This is what you have to do if you want to do it this way. If you don't, that's fine, but I'm going to tell you what the repercussions are if you don't do it the correct way. And I like being able to have real conversations with real people and just, keep it a bug. Like, yo, the math ain't mathing. You can't do this.
Yeah.
And I think that's what people appreciate about what we do is that we're honest, but we're not brutal. So it's very important. Yeah, it's very important to have a relationship with who you're working with when it comes to your finances. And that's what I've heard from all of the people that we serve is that, I have worked with someone before, but I only talked to them during tax time, or they only reached out to me when my retainer was low or something like that. So we actually,
no communication. It's my personal information.
It's no communication. Yeah. So it's like we keep personal relationships with the people that we work with. So we know you're having a baby. We know you're closing on a home. We know you just got married. We keep in contact with you to establish that trust and relationship that's needed to even address your finances.
Gotcha. I understand that right now. Jasmine Young says she's schooling us on how to get healthy.
Yes, sir.
Financially healthy, because it's almost like going to a doctor. If I got a cough, I might go get some cough medicine. If I have a money leak or a shortage, I need to talk to a money person.
Absolutely. And it's so funny that you say that because I use that analogy with people that come to us just to have an initial conversation. And I tell them, well, hey, when you're sick, you go to the doctor, right? This is the same thing.
Right.
You're just coming to a different type of doctor. You don't go to the heart doctor when you're having a issue with your back.
Right.
So you have to go to the doctor that can actually address the issues that you have.
I think sometimes we have to get past that, like you said, emotional part to be able to make real life logical decisions.
Right.
Like, I'm going through this right now. Let's get personal. Let's peel some layers, right? So I had a daughter graduating school, graduating high school, about to go to college. I'm telling her, hey, I know you love these out-of-state schools, but you're going to walk out in debt almost $150,000.
Immediately.
Or you can get the same education, because as we know, if you've been through it, college is a
expensive.
networking place.
Yes, it is.
And all these degrees are pretty much the same.
They are.
Right. It's who you know and how you know them.
And apply who you know.
Right. So like, if you go in state, I can help you get a house. You can charge people to stay in this house.
Right.
You can have some passive income while you getting your education. But if you go out of state, baby, I can't do that.
Right.
That's $30,000 a year.
Right.
But she sees some of her friends going to these colleges and stuff. And I'm like, some of these people are first or second generation college people.
Right.
Which I was, second generation, but I was on a basketball scholarship. So I had the cheat code.
Right.
So I was able to see, like, all right, I get my Pell Grant. I'm using my refund to go get a house.
Right.
So it's a little different. So I'm having that conversation with her to try to get let's take the emotion out of it. I want you to be happy wherever you go.
Absolutely.
Right? But also let's start thinking as an adult. Because we the only people, what I say when I say we the only people that say, oh, you 18, you grown now, you not grown.
Yes, and that is also
you can't even drink.
Right. That's a part of psychological financial trauma as well too.
Right.
Yeah. So I'm glad you had that conversation with her. And one of the things that I think people fail to assess when it comes to their finances is the difference between instant and delayed gratification. Okay. And that's one of the things that you were talking to her about. Like, hey, you can go out of state, but you won't be able to make this passive income. But hey, if you alter your gratification and stay here, you can get this passive income. So you're actually explaining to her what instant and delayed gratification looks like and how it can impact you in the long run. Like, we live in a society now where everything is microwave. You want it instantly.
That hurts us in so many ways.
It does.
It does. Just talking about people trying to keep up we see so many, those voices are louder. So I'm not going to say all women. I'm not even going to say most women. I'm going to say the loud voices on social media are saying, he got to drive this to be able to date me.
Right.
He's got to be wearing this to be able to date me. He's got to take me here. So
Right.
then we got guys overspending or
Absolutely.
overcompensating once again to be presentable.
Absolutely.
Right?
Yep.
So I think we have to be louder. Like, these conversations need to be very loud.
Definitely. And
realistic.
I'm glad you brought up the dating perspective, because that's a hot thing in Atlanta right now.
Yes.
And I was actually talking to a guy the other day who happens to be a chef, but he's in school for project management. And he was talking about how difficult it's been dating people because they want you to be able to take them out to Sundial and have a meal, but I want to take you to...
He can cook better than
He
this
can,
chef in there.
exactly, but
Right.
you know,
It's
I
the
take you
look
out.
of it.
Yeah, it's the look, and it's
Yeah.
like, you know, I took a girl to the park for a picnic, and she dogged me so bad, and I was like, that's wild.
Right.
Like, this man can actually cook better than the people at Sundial.
And he's
And
making time and effort.
Absolutely. So it all boils down to the fact of we have to be okay with not being instantly gratified. Like, you have to be able to wait.
Yes.
In more ways than one.
Yes.
So
There you go. Amen. That's a bar.
I'm
Right, that is a bar. Talk
yeah,
to 'em.
you have to be able to wait. So, and it's the same thing with working with people with financial trauma. Like, you're not going to come in and get it right today.
Yeah.
Budgeting, for example, it's trial and error. You got to do that every month. You got to do it every week until you get it right. And even then, life is happening. You having kids, you're getting married, you're getting divorced, you're buying a house. You have to be able to adjust. So we have to be able to, you know, wait things out and allow your application to do what it needs to do, instead of thinking, oh, well, I want to be able to, you know, have my finances together like this. Well, you didn't mess them up like that.
It's just like my trainer said this a long time ago. He was like, your body didn't change fast.
Right.
So it's going to take time to change it back or to get it
Absolutely.
where you want it. So you got to be patient and trust the process.
Absolutely.
And the financial process seems to be the same way.
It is.
That's what you're saying.
It is. Absolutely. And then on top of that, when it comes to another issue that I've run into is like people, business owners. They, as soon as they get an LLC, they want business credit, and it's like, you just got your name yesterday. It doesn't happen that way. So we really have to really address your mindset as it relates to money and business, and be patient.
There we go.
Yep, be patient.
Okay. So tell us, we're going to go for personal side, and then we're going to talk about business side. So on the personal side, can you give us a couple of tips and tricks that maybe help somebody right now listening, like, you know what, Jazz, I want to change my financial.
What are you spending on rent? What are you spending on gas? What you spending on brunch? Because we in Atlanta, you know, we like that type of stuff. What are you spending on subscriptions? Put all of that stuff on paper and look at it.
Got you.
When you look at that snapshot and look at what you're spending money on, start cutting away those things that are not necessary. And what you're spending on those things, start allocating them to things that you want to do.
Okay.
Like if you want to go and get an Airbnb, or you want to start a business, or you want to start saving. Say you spending, you know, $500 on subscriptions every month. That's $500 you can be putting in savings.
Okay.
Do that first.
Okay.
And do that continuously.
Okay.
I would say that's the biggest.
I had to realign
Yep.
where my money is going.
Right. You got to
Okay.
assess your values. It all comes down to, what do you value the most? Do you value brunch, or do you value having a savings account?
That makes sense.
So
Okay.
I would recommend doing that on the personal side, and continue to do that. And you'll start to see, when you get disciplined about what you're actually wanting to do and what you're actually valuing,
Yes.
then it will be a little bit easier for you to make those hard decisions and to keep it up.
Okay.
Because getting money and keeping money is gotta be, it's a habitual thing. So whatever you do continuously
Yeah.
is what's gonna last. So you really gotta hone in on that.
On in on that. I love that.
Absolutely.
All right, let's start going into the business side of things. You just bought up a big one.
Yeah.
Folks starting these LLCs and corporations,
telling
all
you.
this, and they like, all right, I got it. Let me go on and get me a credit line for $150. It doesn't work like
It
that.
does not.
So let's talk about it.
Absolutely. So with business credit, and business credit actually isn't one of the services we provide, but we can give people, you know, some guidance on how that works. With business credit, a lot of people jump straight into, okay, I got my LLC, I got my EIN number, I want to go and get business credit.
Okay.
If your personal credit is trash, you need to start there first.
Okay.
And the reason for that is because when you first start a business, you don't have any business credit for them to evaluate your credit worthiness. So what do they have to look at?
You.
They got to look at you. And if your personal credit is trash, you're not going to be able to get the business credit that you need. So you need to build that side up first.
Okay.
Now, when you start working on your business credit and you start, establishing a pay debt score, you start getting those trade lines. The more you do business and the more you pay your bills on time.
Okay. She said she hit the table. So that means that we have to do that.
Yes, pay your bills on time, because business credit and personal credit are not the same. They don't report to the same bureaus. Business credit is solely based off of how fast do you pay your bills on time. The more you pay your bills on time, the more you pay your bills early, the higher your pay debt score is.
Okay.
Also, every business account doesn't report. So you got to make sure that these accounts that you're getting are actually reporting to the bureau so that you can show that you have trade lines, that you are trustworthy when it comes to business. So it's a lot of different factors that goes into building business credit. There's different tiers. You got your trade lines, you got your gas cards, you got your charge cards, you got American Express. All those different lines report to different bureaus, and you have to meet certain requirements to get to each tier. So just like in personal finances, building business credit is a journey as well.
Gotcha.
And we gotta be patient. You gotta trust the process, and you gotta do it right.
Somebody's listening right now. They're like, I need Jasmine to coach me to the promised land.
Hey, we love to do it.
What's the Instagram and social media and website?
Absolutely. So you can follow me on Instagram, Twitter, and TikTok at Your Family CPA. You can also schedule consultations with us by going to shfgglobal.com/services.
And we got you not only because you're an amazing person and you get at what you do.
Thank you.
A returning person on our show. We appreciate
Absolutely.
you. But also it's Financial Literacy Month.
It is.
And you're giving people these health tips for their wealth.
Absolutely. For the free. You
for
can't
the
beat
free.
it.
Absolutely. This is her giving back.
Yeah, absolutely.
She charges for this stuff.
Absolutely.
There we go. Now, let's talk about a couple things you just said with those trade lines and different things you can add. You mentioned gas cards. I heard that's a pretty easy way to get in the door because some of them can be secured. Gas card for your business.
Absolutely.
And it starts building credit right away.
It does.
Okay.
It does. You definitely want to do that. Some of the ones that I've referred people to, Fleet Corps.
Yeah.
Fleet Corps here in Atlanta. You can get gas cards through them. BP. They're pretty good. And what happens is when you are consistent with paying your bills, when you're consistent with using the trade line, sometimes they'll turn your gas card into a MasterCard where you can not only use it for fuel, but you can use it for all of your business expenses. That was one of the things that happened to me. I went from having a $5,000 gas card to having a $15,000 BP MasterCard.
Let me hit the hype bell for that. We're going to hit the hype bell for 15 bands.
Yeah, so it really is, it's really based off of habit, doing things the right way, and being intentional about what you're trying to do. Another thing that I've seen a lot of people do is it's all over Instagram is they get a business, they get an LLC, get their EIN, and they want to go get a car in their business name. Where you going? Why do you want to get a car? Well, I heard you can write off the value of your car in your business name. And the thing is, if you just started a business, you don't have any income.
Okay.
How are you going to justify this expense?
This is a CPA talking though.
Yeah.
This is your. See, sometimes we get hot topics and snippets on social media, and we go, "Oh, I'm gonna go do that," but you don't understand the full gamut of it.
It is.
Right.
A lot of the financial gurus on social media are sensationalizing the information. It's not that what they're saying is wrong. They're not giving you the entire story. So yes, you can get a car in your business name. Yes, you can write the car off on your taxes. However, if you don't have any income to write off expenses, no, you can't go less than zero. So if you don't have any income, the depreciation of the car is null and void because you don't have anything to write off the expense towards. So don't go getting into debt that you can't even afford. You don't even have money to justify writing off a G-Wagon. Let's be real.
Yeah.
That's one of the things I have a hard time explaining to people because they actually want to refute professional advice with Instagram advice.
Yeah.
And it's like, well, I know that you saw this on Instagram, and I know you saw somebody do it, but the person that you're talking to also has multiple streams of income. They also have business credit. They also been in business for a long time. Right. So they're able to speak about this, and you're not in the same position. And that is true across all areas, not just with getting a business vehicle, but even with taxes. Even me and you, we may be in the same tax bracket, but you may make more money than me. So I may not get the tax breaks that you get because I may not be qualified. So everybody's situation, personal and business, is different. So you can't really compare what you're doing to what the next person is doing.
Yeah, I definitely could see that happening across the board on social media. And
Absolutely.
I appreciate you clearing that up. Like, you have to do your research.
Absolutely.
Even when it comes down to like DIY and just the small things. When you hear you got to do your own research. You can't take it as gospel.
Absolutely.
Right.
And a lot of people say, well, I know you're a professional, but how do I know that you're right? And I'm not going to sit here and tell you that I have all the answers or that anybody has all the answers. Information changes every year. So the only thing that you can really do is get advice and then go vet it. Go vet it with somebody else. Go read for yourself. Like, nobody knows everything, but there are people that you can come to that know a little bit more than you.
And it's your duty to find out the new information.
Absolutely.
That's what you do.
Absolutely. And that's why they charge that's why they call us CPAs. We're certified, meaning we have a board that we have to report to.
Yes.
We have to take, 80 hours of continuing education courses to make sure that we stay abreast of all the new laws and regulations that's affecting people's finances and their businesses. So yes, we do have to make sure that the information that we're giving you is relevant, because it's nothing worse than going to a professional, getting the advice and it's obsolete.
Right.
Or watching an Instagram video from 6 months ago about the employee retention credit that came out during COVID, but it's 2023 now. If you just started a business, you don't apply. You don't qualify.
Right.
So it's things like that people really need to take their time and take the emotion out of it and take the time to do your research and really vet this information that you're getting.
All right, last question before we get up out of here.
Yeah.
You just mentioned it, the ERC, everybody's talking about.
Yes.
You can get $26,000 per person.
Absolutely.
Tell me about that in the simplest way possible.
So basically what it is during COVID, they were trying to pump money back into businesses because they were closing. Right. So the ERC only applies to those businesses in 2020 and I think 2021 that had employees on payroll. Let me be clear. Payroll is not transferring money from your business account to your personal account.
Okay.
Payroll is actually, you're paying federal income taxes from a person's pay. You're paying federal unemployment. You're paying Social Security, Medicare, state unemployment, state income taxes. You actually have a system that runs and cuts people checks. That's what payroll is. So you had to have employees on payroll during that time in order to get the employee retention credit. So basically what happens is they actually go back and they amend your Form 940s and your Form 941s. If you don't know what that is and you don't have payroll, I'm going to tell you right now, you probably don't qualify. Right. So that's basically what they're doing. They're going back and giving you credit for those people that you had on payroll during COVID.
Gotcha.
Yep.
Makes sense. Beautiful. I appreciate you summing that up.
Absolutely.
Some folks don't be spinning their wheels.
I'm telling you.
Some folks can go ahead and try to do it because, they do qualify.
Absolutely.
Right. So I appreciate Jazz. Thank you again.
Of course.
Tell
Thank you for
everybody
having
where
me.
to follow you at one more time.
You can follow me on Instagram, Twitter, and TikTok at Your Family CPA.
All right, cool. Now, we also going to be re-airing this on Magic. So all my Magic listeners, get ready. We're going to play some snippets back. We're going to talk about some of this financial stuff. So y'all get ready for that, too. Appreciate you again.
Thank you so much. I appreciate you.
All right, y'all. We getting back to this music right here on Reec Radio. We love y'all. Live from Media Campus West. We gone.